Hello, everyone. I'm Zachary Johnson, the Northern Virginia Region State Vice President. And on behalf of your state officer team, I thank you for joining us today for this Foundation Leadership Institute session. Throughout this session, you can use the chat feature to ask questions, and our presenter will answer some at the end of the presentation. Our speaker today is a middle school teacher and the Director of Youth Engagement for GivingTuesday. He is passionate about advocating for at-risk youth and addressing barriers they face to earning a quality education. He works with GivingTuesday to encourage and engage youth, teens, and young adults around the world in giving and creating their own generosity movements. Please welcome Dante Plush.
Thank you very much, Zach, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Virginia FBLA, for having me. It is a real pleasure to be here and present to you today. And I hope that we can all learn something, take something away from the webinar, and have a good GT now and have a great rest of your program. So without further ado, let us get started. This is basically everything Zach just said to you about me already, in case you didn't hear him. Middle school teacher, work with GivingTuesday. It is my job to engage youths not only across the country, but around the world and get them to understand the power of giving and how giving can change society and change people's situations. Here is our social media at the bottom. If you'd like to follow us, if you'd like to just follow me because I'm cool, you could follow me here. Next slide. Okay, so when speaking about GivingTuesday, I'd like to talk to you all a bit about GivingTuesday itself. GivingTuesday is a global generosity movement. GivingTuesday happens on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving every year. So, we have Thanksgiving, then we have Gray Thursday, then we have Black Friday, then we have Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday. Well, there's GivingTuesday, something that doesn't revolve specifically around money, but more so around generosity. GivingTuesday encourages acts of kindness and generosity and monetary support to any philanthropies or causes that matter to you. But it's not just about the money with GivingTuesday. GivingTuesday likes to use grassroots organization to get people in their communities to understand the power that they have with giving and with collaboration and with networking and transform their communities. GivingTuesday started in 2012, and about 8 years later, we've been seeing quite a bit of success. So you guys are going to be future business owners. So you're going to have to get used to looking at a bunch of numbers. So we're going to go over some numbers here real quickly. 2019, December 3rd, last year, we held GivingTuesday. And on GivingTuesday alone, there were $511 million given on GivingTuesday alone, online. Offline, $1.46 billion were donated on GivingTuesday to causes that needed it, to philanthropies that needed it, nonprofit organizations, you name it. We currently have movements in 60 countries around the world, and that is growing. It's grown since then. We have 201 community campaigns across the country. And these community campaigns range from campaigns built based on geography. So we have campaigns based in New York City. We have campaigns based in Arkansas, Arizona. We have campaigns based on interests. So we have LGBTQ GivingTuesday. That is a community campaign that has been founded by LGBTQ plus members, and they facilitate its growth and its networking. We have Muslims Give, another GivingTuesday program founded by Muslim folks who also use the community campaign as an opportunity not only to support themselves and their community, but also to educate society about their causes. We have had 20.1 billion social media impressions last year alone on GivingTuesday, which shows the reach of GivingTuesday online has gotten pretty large. And probably move on from there. I know most of you can read, you've probably been reading it as I've been presenting it. Those are just some of our numbers. And what we've seen when it comes to giving is that people, when they give, are more inclined to do so in other ways. So that's 37% on this graph, And whether that's donating food, going out to help the elderly, help the needy, help the homeless, maybe write a nice letter to someone who may need it, maybe perform or create a public service announcement to educate the public on a cause that matters to you. 28% likes to give money, 35% will do both. And there's just some more numbers about Giving Tuesday. 27 million adults participated, and we had 7.6 million hours volunteered. So I wanted this webinar to be a little bit interactive, just so it's not me talking at you for a whole 40 minutes. So future business leaders, I'd like to challenge you and give you about 2 minutes to discuss amongst each other within the chat. And advisors, if you can facilitate the discussion with some scaffolding questions, that would be great as well. How do you think giving could help your future business? Again, the question is, how do you think giving could help your future business? I'll give you about 2 minutes. Please discuss amongst yourselves in the chat, share some ideas, share some questions you may have, and begin. I think that's a great point, great public image. It's a great point. More publicity brings more customers. That's a great point. We'll give it about 30 more seconds. This is some great talk that we have going on. Let's go over some of the thoughts that you guys shared. This was amazing. You guys have some really good thinking going on here. Based on what was shared in the chat, we have come to the conclusion that networking is a big thing that will come out of giving for your business. Giving and meeting new people through giving will definitely help expand your network and will help expose you to new resources, new customers, new employees. That was a great point. Public relations. Someone said social image. That is quite correct. Public relations, giving will almost certainly boost your PR and give you great image. Nobody wants to work with a business that has bad image. And another trend that we're seeing these days is that customers and employees like to see where businesses stand on certain issues, whether that may be a plus or a minus to you. Unfortunately, that's a trend that at least I've been seeing with the work I've been doing. And finally, someone mentioned that giving will show customers that you care about them. And I think that is also important too. If you make a customer feel special and noticed by your business, they'll want to keep coming back and coming back. So great job, everyone. That was awesome. Let's move forward. So we are all aware of the current pandemic that is deeply impacting the world. COVID-19, we've been in the thick of it for months now. And it has been having not only a terrible impact on our communities, but also on the social sector. So that's the sector that includes a lot of nonprofit organizations and philanthropic causes. And so when my team saw what was happening and how there's stay-at-home orders going on and economies were being disrupted and the social sector was drying up and nonprofits were laying off people left and right, we decided that there was something that we needed to do about this. We didn't want history looking back and saying, where was Giving Tuesday when this was happening? And Giving Tuesday, we've already developed a reputation of being able to help nonprofit organizations, help businesses, help all around, help with networking, help with platform. So we thought, why not put that help out in a time where the world can really use it? And so we thought about Giving Tuesday now, and we decided that we're going to go ahead and do it. So Giving Tuesday now, think of it as an emergency Giving Tuesday. We usually do Giving Tuesday on the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, but this year we decided we need an emergency one right now. We need to get out and give people help, and also we need to give people a way to help even if they don't have money. There are a lot of folks, unfortunately, who have been furloughed or laid off of their jobs and aren't very happy right now. And we want to give them the power of giving to help them get out of that, the negativity, the mindset that comes with losing your job during a devastating pandemic. So we have Giving Tuesday now. It is May 5th, 2020. It is an emergency response. And it is our goal to bring the world together and have everyone give what they can, whether that's time, whether that's kindness, whether that's money, whatever it is, and help shed some positivity on this pandemic. And if you take a look at this screen right here, these are some partners that decided to launch with us because they thought Giving Tuesday now would be a great idea too. So we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, PayPal, the Ford Foundation, United Nations is one of our launch partners, Facebook, LinkedIn, The Guardian, and we move forward. When we talk to organizations about joining in on Giving Tuesday now, we want them to know that their work is essential business too. So for someone like myself who's a teacher, I'm not considered essential because I am not going out. I don't really need to leave my house to do my job. I'm not risking my life. But Giving Tuesday now wants you to know that your job is essential as well. And an essential job can help contribute all sorts of things that you may not have thought about on Giving Tuesday now. So say you are a teacher and you want to use your knowledge as a teacher to plan some type of small lesson for a parent to help their child learn better math. We want you to know that that's essential. There's a lot of struggling parents right now who aren't used to doing work with their kids because they're at school. Just a brief example. So on Giving Tuesday now, we are going to be connecting local networks. We're up to 213 now, communities now across the country. We're connecting them. We are tapping into new groups like Giving Tuesday Military and Giving Tuesday Kids, both which are about a year old now, and they span out across the world, and they are planning their own coordinated projects. We are tapping into professional networks like social workers, lawyers, therapists. Also, in the youth sector of Giving Tuesday, I've been working closely with a lot of service organizations who are collegiate. So lots of sororities and fraternities, service organizations, stuff like that, because we want youth to be able to know that they can make a change through giving as well. Like I said, we are worldwide. We have over 60 campaigns around the world, and they are all activating for Giving Tuesday now because we are in such an emergency. Unfortunately, there are some countries who did not have the resources or the funds to participate in Giving Tuesday now because they were hit particularly hard by COVID-19. So we started a fund called the Starling Fund, and it was about $250,000, and we had communities apply, or people who are interested in giving on Giving Tuesday now or leading a project. We had them apply, and we were able to award certain grants for people to be able to fund their projects to contribute on Giving Tuesday now. We are inspiring a global response. We already talked about global initiatives. And of course, again, every country campaign will depend on context. So we have a campaign in Ukraine with some community leaders who were not able to access internet or charge their devices because they don't have electricity. So they would need to go to the local library in order to charge devices and access Wi-Fi. And then of course that puts them at risk. So not everyone's going to be able to give in the same way, but that doesn't matter because giving in general is what's going to propel this event and make it successful. So we talked about this already. The nonprofit sector has taken a hit. Individual giving is suppressed, but we are looking to, again, empower people to give and get us out of this mess that has been produced by the pandemic. So I want to ask you all again, future business leaders, take about 2 minutes again to discuss this amongst yourselves in the chat. How do you think a struggling nonprofit sector could impact your future business and businesses like it? Again, how do you think a struggling nonprofit sector could impact your future businesses and businesses like it? Give you about 2 minutes to discuss. This one's a little more difficult, but I'm sure you can handle it. Again, advisors, if you're able to facilitate discussion at all, maybe scaffold with some questions, please do so. Great, great. About 30 more seconds. Great. All right. So again, there's some great conversation going on in the chat. So kudos to everyone. That was great. And I like also how we are using accountable talk. We're saying, I agree or I disagree, and we're building on what each other has to say. I think that's awesome. You're all killing it. So I think the main points that were touched upon in the chat that I really liked were struggling business partners. So businesses can partner with nonprofits, especially for certain community initiatives. And if the nonprofit sector is drying up and laying off people left and right, they may not be able to help your business with your community outreach initiatives, which they then may stifle overall productivity and confidence for your business. So I think that was the biggest point that I saw in there. I think that was great. Kudos to you for bringing that up. Let's move forward in the interest of time. So again, our goal, our objectives for Giving Tuesday now, we want to help set a course for the nonprofit sector. We want to get it back on its feet. We don't want these nonprofits struggling and then impacting our businesses as a result. So we want recovery, we want positive legacy and mitigation. Our approach, we have a very, I don't want to say guess and check approach to Giving Tuesday, but it's all about finding out what works, trying it out. Does it work? Let's keep it. Let's build on it. If it doesn't, move on. Next. We do a lot of social listening. We look at our givers and our communities on social media and see what interests them, what worked, who do you think they'd be able to collaborate with in our network. We do survey research. We have a data team that actually, they came up with that beautiful chart that I showed you in the beginning with all the numbers and stuff like that I didn't really understand. And they look into the data and they analyze trends, and it helps us to plan our strategies. What are we going to try next according to these trends? And I feel like that's something that you as future business leaders will also be doing with your businesses when you start them, if you haven't already. And of course, giving behavior. Are you giving money? Are you giving time? Are you doing both? Should we gear Giving Tuesday towards giving time? Should we try to do Giving Tuesday every Tuesday? Again, based off of behavior, data, and listening. So now, future business leaders, we at Giving Tuesday are challenging you. We want you to take part in Giving Tuesday now on May 5th. Now you might be thinking, wow, that's 2 weeks away. You're crazy. What's going on? What can I do? Well, first of all, that's not true. Giving, again, can be anything. You don't have to give money. You can give time, you can give kindness, you can give education. And we also want you to give from the safety of your home. I think that's a big, big difference about Giving Tuesday now, is many people are going to be isolated in their homes and giving. And so we have thought of ways that you can give without lots of social interaction or putting yourself in danger. So ways to engage on Giving Tuesday now. You can do some direct fundraising, and there's different types of fundraising you can do. I imagine maybe some of you are younger and like gaming. There is a feature in Twitch, if you're familiar with it, called Tiltify, that allows you to game and then fundraise money from any type of audience that's watching you game. Or you can do regular traditional fundraising on GoFundMe. We have kindness initiatives. Be kind to someone in the community. Maybe make a heart for an essential worker. Maybe donate a tip or something to a delivery driver or a restaurant that can only serve takeout or delivery. You can have gratitude campaigns. Go on social media and list things that you are grateful for, especially during this pandemic. Resource maps and crowdsourcing, stories of community resilience. So right now, it means a lot. And I have friends who are nurses. I have friends who work in therapy. It means a lot that their efforts are being recognized. And the fact that they are constantly out putting themselves at risk to serve our community and uphold us, they really do appreciate the recognition. So maybe stories of community resilience, stories of your neighbors helping each other out, stories of the community singing together, whatever it is to put a smile on our face and help us get through this, that is very highly encouraged on Giving Tuesday now. And I see in the chat someone brought up giving out masks. That is very popular. A lot of people are making masks right now. And if you have the means to get the resources and you have the time to make it, yes, make some masks, give them to a local hospital, give them to whoever may need them. So with your project moving forward, think about these things. Offer multiple ways to give. Can someone give you time? Can someone listen to you? Can someone help you give virtually? Tie your engagement to your relevance in the moment. You are future business leaders, excuse me. How can this experience help you prepare for when you start your business when you're older? How can this project tie into your business aspirations? Just because you're giving doesn't mean it doesn't have to be about your interests. Remember, giving is an opportunity to educate. Share opportunities and help empower. Share opportunities, invite friends to jump on too. Maybe they don't know about Giving Tuesday. We are working on our youth engagement with Giving Tuesday. We don't reach as many youths as we'd like to. So chances are maybe your friends don't know about it. Invite them to get involved. Maybe it'll help them. You don't know what they're going through. Maybe it'll brighten their day to know that they are giving and contributing. And then maybe they invite a friend, and then you have networking, and then you have a whole big network ready by the time you start your business. And most importantly, using hashtag GivingTuesday now. So you guys are, most of you are probably teens, I imagine, or in high school. So you are not mandated to advertise your project on social media. You need to ask your parents' permission. Let's say your parents do say, yeah, sure, you can read a story to a child and put it on Instagram or whatnot, or your social media. We highly encourage you to use the hashtag GivingTuesday now, because it adds your project into the sea of everything else that has happened. And then you never know, someone may contact you. They may have seen your project and what you've done. You may get an internship out of it. You never know what it may lead to. And that includes, along with hashtag GivingTuesday now, if there are any hashtags that are important to you or your organization, I would include those as well. So maybe a hashtag FBLA, hashtag whatever's important to you. And for a list of more ideas that you'll be able to do that'll keep you safe, that'll be done virtually, whether it's monetary, non-monetary, kindness, service, you can go to this link, or you can go to givingtuesdaynow.org, and there will be a whole list of things that you can do and probably pull together in about the 2 weeks that we have left until the day. I like this point, by the way, that was brought up in the chat. I think that is great. Reaching out to local small businesses, especially because you are future business leaders and owners, that is a great, great way to give, because a lot of small businesses are suffering right now. All right, so that about does it for me and my presentation. Now I'd like to open it up to Zach and see if we have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Plush, for sharing that giving opportunity with us today. Now time for some questions that were asked. First of all, how, as a middle school teacher, did you get involved with Giving Tuesday?
Oh, okay, great question. So I teach in the Bronx, and I did not grow up in the Bronx. I grew up on the Jersey Shore. And so when I got there and I saw that some of my students, who are very, very bright kids, don't do their homework because they don't eat unless they go to school, or their parents are working 3 jobs and aren't there to help them with their homework, or crazy stuff like that is happening. I found that, yes, I can teach, but something more needs to be done, because this data is not correct. If the student isn't doing work, you don't know, the data is not showing how smart they are. So I decided I wanted to do more with my teaching job, and I started kind of doing my own community activism. I started fundraising to fund organizations, community-based organizations in my community that helps children who faced educational barriers, whether those barriers are English language learners, students with disabilities, students who are homeless, students who face severe poverty, immigration status, all sorts of stuff. And then I started getting picked up to do press conferences and videos with social media platforms. And through that networking that I got from working with those platforms, Giving Tuesday actually reached out to me and asked me to be a part of their youth engagement team, because they liked the work that I was doing. And I thought that it's a great opportunity, because giving is power. And if I can teach kids, at-risk kids, like the kids that I teach in the Bronx, how to give and how to give to each other and uplift your community, I think I can make a difference that way.
Wow. So another question is, What is a good way to give by means of exercise, like running or biking?
Means of exercise. Let's say they always have races where you have someone sponsor you, right? Like say, I'll pay what, $10 per what mile you can run, stuff like that. Maybe ask a family member or a friend or someone in your community to sponsor you. Maybe make an exercise video. I'm stuck at home all the time. I could use an aerobics video on YouTube. These are all ways of giving that you can do with just exercise.
Um, how can high school students get involved in the interest-oriented groups you were talking about earlier in the presentation?
Oh, good question. So the first step would be to actually go to Giving Tuesday, the website, givingtuesday.org, probably after GT now, because we'll have it back to normal, and look into the community campaigns. We could probably connect you via email with the campaign leader. Then you could talk to them about working with them virtually, working with them virtually, or maybe starting your own chapter of that interest-based initiative if geography is an issue. Because again, we're spread out across the world, but it doesn't have to stop you from being able to support that initiative.
That looks like all the questions we have. If anyone has any more, feel free to unmute or type them into the chat. Okay, so I'm excited to see how the Virginia FBLA will celebrate Giving Tuesday this year. If you do anything, be sure to post on your social media with the hashtag Giving Tuesday to let everyone know how you are giving back. A recording of this session will be available on our Virginia FBLA YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us today, and don't miss tomorrow's Fly session, developing your own personal network as you continue to create a world of opportunity.